Hey guys, Jeff here with Passive Income Unlocked, and this is the September 2021 income report. So like past income reports, I'm going to start this video by going into things that we worked on last month, then I'll get into the numbers. If you want the short version, we made $41,124 last month in September. That was our biggest month yet, and that was actually with our traffic declining quite a bit. So I'll get into why that is in a little bit here. And then also on the expense side, we spent about $10,000, which is almost double what we usually spend. So again, I will jump into that in detail later on in the video. That's just to give you a quick overview. So if you want to follow along, the income report is posted over at passiveincomeunlocked.com. I go into a lot more detail in the written version than I'm going to in this video. For the video, I'm just going to try to hit the key points. But if you want the details all the way down to the penny, just head over to the website. So usual disclaimer that I always say, everything that you see in this income report comes from the niche websites. Nothing is included from passiveincomeunlocked.com or the YouTube channel. So as far as traffic and revenue, I keep all that separate. So first thing, changes and updates in September. So basically we decided to focus on three things in September. So one was internal links, basically adding more of them to our sites. Two was increasing our content production on site number 5, so outsourced content. And three was increasing our keyword list, also for site number 5, and then a future site as well. So I guess we can call it site number 6. So first with internal links, we use this plugin called Link Whisper. A lot of you are probably familiar with it. We actually purchased it probably 6 months ago. We used it for a little bit, but didn't find it too useful at the time. Decided to try it again because we wanted to really build the internal links on our site. So we said, okay, let's at least try this again, see if we can figure it out. And we took a different approach this time. Worked really well. If you guys want details on that, let me know in the comments. I'll create a separate video for that. But basically, we were able to create 500 internal links across 3 of our sites. So 300 on one site roughly, and then 100 on 2 other sites. We did this in 3 days. If we were doing this manually, it literally would have never been done. We wouldn't have even tried. So that was number 1, internal links. Number 2 was increasing our outsourced content. So basically what we decided to do is we said we wanted to ramp up production on site number 5. And what we're doing now is posting 2 times per day instead of 4 times per week. So we're going to do 2 times per day on that site. So 2 posts per day, probably for about a month or so. And then we're going to scale that back to 1 post per day. So that's the current plan. And obviously, if we want to scale up to that point, we had to spend more money on outsourcing. So that's the main reason that our expenses went up. I mentioned last month that we tried a new service called Passion Post. Got the first bulk order back from them. Everything looked great. Really no complaints. Then we also tried a new service called Content Pit. That's a long story. I actually reached out to them at the same time as Passion Post. They couldn't take our order. Just if you want the details on that, just check out the written version of the income report. But anyways, that content came back. We did a sample order with them. And the thing that really struck me with Content Pit was the formatting. So we always send out instructions for formatting with any writing service. And of course, it always comes back and you have to kind of do some editing to clean it up so it looks consistent on your website. With Content Pit, they followed everything so perfectly that you could literally just copy and paste the post right into WordPress if you wanted to. And we changed a couple of small things on the post, but it was extremely well formatted across all the articles. So we ended up actually getting that test order back, turning around and ordering another 100,000 words from them. So we just did that. We haven't gotten the content back yet. Probably got some of it back by the time this video goes live, but anyways, we're really happy with Content Pit so far. But again, we only placed a test order, and then we placed a really large order after that. So I'll probably let you guys know how that goes in the next video. If you guys want to try either of these services, though, I do have a 10% off discount code. I'll put those in the description below. So the third thing we did last month was increase our keyword research. And it's for the same reason I just mentioned. We wanted to increase our production on site number 5 and then site number 6, which is one that we haven't launched yet. Basically what we did was we used the tool that I said last month that we probably wouldn't use again. That was Keyword Chef. So what we did was we turned around and doubled down and spent $500, even though, again, I said that we probably wouldn't put any more money into it. But basically what we did was took all the topics for site number 5 that we could come up with, and then a bunch of topics on site number 6 as well, ran them through the tool, had it spit out a bunch of different question-based keywords for us, and then we just have huge lists of thousands of keywords that we need to go through and check the competition on. So basically our goal there was to just have a really quick way to build our keyword list, just for the potential of those keywords. When we do it the manual way, it obviously takes a really long time to build those keyword lists, and that's what we're going to continue to do because that's what works well for us. But obviously, anytime you can use another method to find more keywords quickly, it doesn't hurt to add them to your list. You still have to check the competition on them. Probably 90% or more of them we're just going to throw away anyways, but we're just trying to build our list as quickly as possible. So, all right, so let's just jump into the numbers now. First thing I always go over here is the sites and posts. So nothing's really changed here, but I'll bring this graph up on the screen for you. We have 5 sites currently. Site number 1 is 4 years old now, with site number 5 being 1 year old. Total number of posts kind of ranges from roughly 550 to 600 on those first 4 sites. Getting close to that 300 mark on site number 5. And I will say here, I don't know if I ever pointed this out, but these numbers that you're seeing here include posts that are in draft. So we like to actually post at a consistent frequency on our sites. So same days of the week, same time and all that. And there's some debate as far as whether that's even beneficial or not, but that's what we do. So these numbers that you see here includes probably about a month worth of post and draft. And we're doing 4 days a week, so roughly 20 posts you could say in draft per site. All right, so traffic. Oh, one other thing I'll point out here as well. Probably pointed this out in last video as well, but My Backyard Life, that's the site we already revealed, so you are going to see that on any videos going forward. It's not going to say site number 4 anymore. But if you go back to older videos to watch them, you will see My Backyard Life listed as site number 4 instead. All right, so traffic. I'll bring up this graph on the screen. I mentioned this already, but our traffic did decline quite a bit in September. And if you look at this graph, it's pretty clear why. We have some seasonality to our sites. So 2 sites are outdoor sites. They're going to do better in the warmer months. So we got My Backyard Life and then site number 2. And we have another site number 3, that has quite a bit of outdoor content on it as well. So what you see here on the graph is you'll see that early in spring it starts to really spike up, and it starts to flatten out in the summer, and then it starts to go back down after that. I'm going to jump into the income in a minute here, but you're going to see that even with that drop, we made even more money, and that's due to the RPMs. But what I will point out real quick here on the traffic is if you look at the orange part here, so that's site number 1. That's a food-based site, and that's actually going to probably keep getting bigger and bigger the rest of the year. So every single year, that's our oldest site that grows quite rapidly throughout the fall and winter, whereas the other sites go down in traffic. Site number 3 might go up or stay flat or whatever, but sites 2 and My Backyard Life are going to go down. Site 1 is probably going to go up by a lot. Site 5 has no seasonality to it. That's the newest site, so hopefully that one will keep going up as well. All right, so for income, so if I'll bring up this graph on the screen here, the screenshot. So $41,123.96. That was our biggest month yet, just barely. And as you can see, most of that money comes from display ads. So the reason that we had even more money, or more revenue, I should say, in September, even though our traffic declined, simply due to display ad RPMs. So I think I've mentioned this in the past, but ad RPMs do kind of follow some seasonality. They tend to go up each quarter, so the first quarter will be lower, or first month in a quarter, I should say, will be lower, and the second month will be a little bit higher, and the third month will be the highest. It kind of follows that pattern quarter to quarter. Fourth quarter is where you have the highest RPMs overall. So that's kind of what we saw here. So September had really high RPMs for us, and as a result, even though our traffic went down, our revenue actually went up. So pretty happy about that. Next, I will bring up our a screenshot from Mediavine here. So you see our 4 sites there. The top one there, they're fairly well balanced. If you look at that top one, 11,700, that's site number 1. And the traffic's actually considerably higher on that site than the other sites. The reason the revenue is lower, though, or kind of more balanced, is because that site has the lowest RPMs. So just something to keep in mind. You know, when you go into a niche, they're going to all have different RPMs, and we don't ever consider. That's actually one thing that we don't consider. Been asked that question a lot. You know, how do you find a high RPM niches or whatever? We actually don't even think about it. We select our niche based on different factors, other factors, but that's not one that we consider. Across all 4 of these sites, I mean, the RPMs range from, I can't remember the exact numbers, probably like $35 to $45 or something in September. So they're all pretty high. Site number 1, that's a food-based site. Food-based sites tend to be lower in RPMs, but even then it was still mid-30s, and in the winter months it's going to go probably well over 40. So, All right, next screenshot I'm gonna bring up here. This is gonna be Amazon Associates. So roughly $1,200 from the U.S. account, about $100 from Canada and the U.K. So that's not gonna be on the screen there for you. Again, I'm just giving you round numbers here just to keep it simple. I do have this all down to the penny over on the website if you want to check it out. So expenses. So again, this was our biggest month ever in expenses. So our biggest revenue month and biggest expense month at the same time. We spent roughly $10,000, so $10,259 on expenses. We had the typical expenses like $100 for Rocket hosting, $115 for iStock stock images, and so on. But we did have some changes, and the changes were in the big numbers. So we had Keyword Chef, we spent $500, and that's something that's usually going to be zero. Texting, we spent $2,000. That's been roughly $4,500 in the past. We took Texting down, like we said. Passion Posts, we spent $3,300. So that was a significant increase. That was a service that we haven't been using. That was basically to make up for decreasing Texting, and it was a little bit pricier, so the difference was a little bit different, a little bit higher. And then again, like I said, we spent roughly $4,000 on Content Pit. That was a new service that we're trying out as well. So net profit, you take our revenue of $41,123.96 minus expenses of $10,259.08, left with a net profit of $30,864.88. So really, really big month still for us, even though we ate into that revenue quite a bit with our expenses. So super happy about that. Next, the mailing list. I'm not going to really go into this in this video here. If you want the details, you can check it out on the site. Basically, we're still collecting email addresses on 2 of our sites, site number 1, site number 2. They're growing at a pretty good pace, but we literally haven't put any focus on it. We probably should, but currently we're not doing anything with that. We're focusing on other things. And as far as those other things, this is the last thing I'll go into here. So our future plans and goals. Basically, our plans for the future for the rest of this year. To just focus on that site number 5, then probably eventually shift our focus to site number 6, which is one we haven't launched yet. So build a keyword list. Oh, I guess we've already built our keyword list. We have tens of thousands of keywords now across our sites. We just need to do the competition analysis. That's what we have to do now for site number 5. And then the same thing for site number 6. And we do need to build the list for that one as well. As far as competition analysis, by the way, you're going to see that video in the near future. I know a lot of you guys have asked for it. I did just shoot that video literally a couple days ago. So you'll probably see a video from Ben after this one, and you'll probably see that one next. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's really our focus for the rest of this year is just increase that output on site number 5. So 2 posts per day for about a month, then probably 1 post per day for the rest of the year after that. And then we're going to switch that over to the new site and do the same thing. Probably 2 posts per day for a month or 2 or whatever on that new site to just kind of front load the content. So kind of take a different approach than we're used to. So guys, that's about it for this one. We do have the 4th quarter coming up. That's when you have the highest RPMs of the year. So we're super excited about that. We're going to have to wait and see if those RPMs offset the seasonal decline in traffic. We're hoping to kind of get up towards that 50,000 number in November, December. But we really have no idea if that's realistic or not. But that's kind of what we're hoping for, that by the end of the year, we will hit $50,000. Either way, it was a great month in September, highest one yet. It's been a great year so far, so we're looking forward to seeing what the 4th quarter brings. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.